What if the person dressed as Santa Claus at your door wasn't there to deliver gifts? Tonight, I'm sharing a true incident that turned Christmas Eve into a nightmare for one family in Wisconsin. 2019, December 24th, 2019. The Anderson family was celebrating Christmas Eve in their suburban home in Madison, Wisconsin. Sarah Anderson, a 34-year-old mother, was decorating the tree with her two children, ages 7 and 9, while her husband Mark was in the kitchen preparing hot chocolate at exactly 9:47 p.m. There was a knock on the door. Through the peephole, Sarah saw a man dressed in a complete Santa Claus costume, red suit, white beard, black boots. He was holding what appeared to be a gift bag, thinking it was a neighbor doing a kind gesture. Sarah opened the door with a smile, but something was wrong. The man's eyes were cold, empty. He didn't say Merry Christmas or ho ho ho. He just stood there, staring at her through the fake beard. "Can I help you?" Sarah asked, her smile fading. The man slowly reached into his gift bag. Sarah's instincts screamed at her. She tried to slam the door, but he pushed it open with shocking force. What happened next was captured on their Ring doorbell camera. The man pulled out a crowbar from the bag and attempted to force his way inside. Sarah screamed for Mark, who rushed to the door. The two of them managed to push the intruder back while their children called 911 from upstairs. The fake Santa stumbled backward off the porch and ran into the darkness, leaving behind his gift bag. When police arrived minutes later, they found the bag contained rope, duct tape, and zip ties. Security footage from neighbors' homes showed the same. Santa had been checking doors on multiple houses that night. He was never caught. The Andersons installed a security system the next day. To this day, Sarah Anderson refuses to answer the door on Christmas Eve. Christmas lights are supposed to bring joy and warmth, but in 2017, one family's decorations revealed something that had been hidden in plain sight for weeks. The Morrison family lived in a quiet neighborhood in Portland, Oregon. Every year, Michael Morrison went all out with Christmas decorations, thousands of lights, inflatable snowmen, and a massive nativity scene in the front yard. On December 18, 2017, Michael was adjusting the lights on his roof when he noticed something strange. One of his outdoor security cameras, hidden among the decorations, had captured movement in his backyard every night for the past 3 weeks. Curious and concerned, Michael reviewed the footage. What he saw made his blood run cold. Every night, around 2:30 a.m., a figure would emerge from the woods behind their property. The person would stand at the edge of their yard, just beyond the reach of the Christmas lights, watching their house for hours, sometimes until sunrise. The figure wore dark clothing and a hood. They never moved closer, never tried to break in, just watched. Michael called the police immediately. Officers searched the woods and found something horrifying, a makeshift shelter built from branches and plastic sheets, about 50 feet from the Morrisons' fence. Inside were blankets, food wrappers, and dozens of photographs of the Morrison family, taken through their windows, at different times of day. The children playing, the family eating dinner, Sarah Morrison sleeping. Some photos were marked with red X's. Police determined someone had been living in those woods, watching the family, for at least a month. They found a journal with detailed notes about the family's daily routine, work schedules, and when the children were home alone. The person was never identified or caught. They disappeared before police arrived. The Morrison family moved out within 2 weeks. Their house sat empty for over a year. Before anyone would buy it, Michael Morrison still checks behind him wherever he goes. He never decorated for Christmas again. What would you do if you received a gift from someone who died years ago? This happened to Jennifer Hayes in Boston, Massachusetts. Christmas morning, 2018. Jennifer Hayes was a 29-year-old nurse living alone in a Boston apartment. She had no family nearby. Her parents had passed away in a car accident 5 years earlier, and she was an only child. Christmas morning, 2018. Jennifer woke up to find a wrapped present sitting outside her apartment door. It was elegantly wrapped in vintage paper with a red velvet bow. There was no name tag, no card. She brought it inside, assuming a neighbor had left it. When she opened the box, her hands began to tremble. Inside was a jewelry box she recognized immediately. It had belonged to her mother, the same jewelry box that had been buried with her mother 5 years ago. Jennifer's heart pounded. She opened the jewelry box with shaking fingers. Inside was her mother's wedding ring, her grandmother's locket, and a folded piece of paper. The note was written in her mother's handwriting. She would recognize it anywhere. It read, "Jenny, I never left. I've been watching over you. But so has someone else. Check your bedroom closet. Don't wait. Do it now." Mom Jennifer's apartment suddenly felt freezing cold. With trembling legs, she walked to her bedroom. She hadn't opened her closet that morning. She pulled open the door. A man was crouched inside, surrounded by more wrapped gifts. He had been living in her closet, coming out while she slept. The gifts were items stolen from her apartment over months: her hairbrush, clothing, photographs. He smiled at her and whispered, "Merry Christmas, Jennifer." Jennifer screamed and ran. She made it to a neighbor's apartment and called 911. Police arrested the man, a former maintenance worker who had kept a copy of her key. He had been entering her apartment for over 4 months. But here's what police could never explain. The jewelry box. It was verified as the same one buried with Jennifer's mother. The handwriting was authenticated by forensic experts as genuinely her mother's. The grave had never been disturbed. No one could explain how those items left the coffin. Jennifer moved across the country the next week. She'll never spend another Christmas alone.